This guy can't save democracy when he's trying to rip his opponent off of the ballot, slap him with gags, and have him arrested. Judge, he ran his first campaign on Charlottesville. The second campaign is now on January 6th. He actually thinks Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. So the first campaign he ran on was a hoax. The second one, this is now a joke. You can't actually be from the party that literally started a racist insurrection and accuse the other party of the same thing. That's like Bill Clinton saying it's disqualifying for someone to sleep with an intern and run for office. I am so tired of Joe Biden running on January 6th. If I were Donald Trump, I'd run on July 4th. No one is more patriotic than Donald Trump. Joe Biden's sitting on his keister, backslapping and glad-handing his whole life.
Country.
Done nothing. He's done nothing. Okay. And the racism thing has to stop, Jessica, okay? Donald Trump dated black women. Has Joe Biden ever dated a black woman?
Since blatant bigotry is openly flowing from conservative circles, Jesse Waters feels left out if he isn't adding to it with some racist analysis to ease the stress of caping for their power-hungry former president. It really is the only way Republicans think they can generate support from voters. But they're going against the guy that led the charge in their modern-day embrace of brazen racism as a party.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you.
Vivek might be more upset about his campaign grinding to a halt than the stupid questions about his support for white supremacists. But as usual, Nikki Haley isn't snarling at reporters over her party's commitment to racism like Vivek. She's going for the nobody's wrong pitch to quell the division, which was brought upon by the president that she served.
To bring a divided state together and avoid riots and protests, the way we did that was I knew half of South Carolinians saw the Confederate flag as heritage and tradition. The other half of South Carolinians saw it as slavery and hate. My job wasn't to judge either side. My job was to get them to see the best of themselves and go forward. And South Carolinians showed what true strength and grace look like because we didn't have protests, we had vigils. We didn't have riots, we had prayer. And South Carolina led the way, but that is the way we have to work on issues that try and divide us, is don't go and pick who's right and who's wrong and who's good and who's bad. That's what leaders are doing now, and it's caused us to be completely in political disarray. A leader doesn't decide who's right. When you serve the people, you serve everybody. And your job is to give them all the information you have and let them know where you want to go going forward.
So, regardless of our history of calculated and legalized racism, leaders apparently don't pay attention to reality. They allow insular people that hold on to their bigotry like a teddy bear at night to excuse and cover up our actions. It's a nervous response to a moment when leaders are faced with telling the truth in the face of a vicious Republican atmosphere. It's why she didn't want to acknowledge American slavery as a major component of the Civil War. She didn't have the courage to simply speak that truth, so she stumbled instead. And sadly, avoiding the truth is making her look worse every time she has to answer for it.
Just referring back to New Hampshire, you were asked to explain the cause of the Civil War. You obviously did not mention slavery. And afterwards, you came up, you said that was a mistake. In fact, you said it should have been the first thing that you said. So you did come out and say that. Chris Christie, though, came out and said that you gave that answer not because you're, in his words, dumb or racist, but because you're, quote, unwilling to offend anyone by telling the truth. What do you say to that?
No one's ever said that I am unwilling to offend. I offend plenty of people because I call people out when they do something wrong. What I will tell you is Chris Christie is from New Jersey. I should have said slavery right off the bat. But if you grow up in South Carolina, literally in second and third grade, you learn about slavery. You grow up and you have, I had black friends growing up. It is a very talked about thing. We have a big history in South Carolina when it comes to, slavery, when it comes to all the things that happened with the Civil War, all of that. I was thinking past slavery and talking about the lesson that we would learn going forward.